Before I wrote a single word, I asked myself a question that most people never dare to face. Why is it that when a Sigma male turns into your enemy, he becomes unforgettable? Why is it that the very same man who once felt like calm in human form becomes a storm you'll never outrun? And even deeper, why do people carry the memory of a Sigma male long after he's gone? Long after the story ended? Long after they pretended they moved on? The truth hits with a force most aren't ready for. A Sigma male makes the best enemy because he fights with intelligence, not impulse. And he becomes the worst memory because he leaves a mark that doesn't fade. It evolves. A Sigma doesn't destroy you loudly. He destroys your illusions quietly. He becomes the mirror that reflects everything you tried to hide from yourself. Let's go deeper. Show me who you think you're competing with, and I'll show you exactly why you'll never reach a man who isn't competing at all. But the real danger of a Sigma male isn't his anger, it's his clarity. He sees motives, patterns, manipulations, insecurities, hidden strategies. And when someone crosses him, he doesn't attack their ego, he attacks their illusions. That's why his enemies break from the inside out. And the memories he leaves behind? They're not accidents. They're consequences. People remember a Sigma male because he was the one person who treated them with a level of truth they weren't prepared for. He saw them clearly. He understood them deeply. He dealt with them directly. And when the story ended, whether through betrayal, disrespect, manipulation, or simply misalignment, his exit left a void that no one else could fill. Sigma males become unforgettable not because they tried to, but because they reveal the truth people spend years hiding from. Now let's break down the 10 reasons Sigma males make the best enemies and the worst memories. 1. He makes the best enemy because he never fights the battle. You expect he fights the one you're not prepared for. A Sigma male doesn't fight impulsively. He doesn't attack in anger. He doesn't strike for ego. Instead, he studies. He observes. He plans. He understands exactly where the cracks in a person's armor are because he saw them even when you were pretending they didn't exist. When someone tries to cross or hurt a Sigma male, he never reacts emotionally. He reacts strategically. And that's what makes him dangerous. He won't yell, threaten, or argue. He will dismantle the situation in a way that leaves the other person realizing they were outclassed before the war even started. He doesn't fight the loudest enemy. He fights the real one, the one inside you. This is why enemies fear him long after the conflict ends, because they realize too late that the Sigma wasn't battling them. He was battling their lies. 2. He makes the worst memory because he saw you clearly, even when you were pretending. The Sigma male is one of the few people who actually pays attention. He notices the small shifts in tone, the subtle contradictions, the half-truths, the hidden motives. He sees the version of you that even you tried to hide. And that's why people never forget him. Not because he was perfect, not because he was dramatic, not because he was intense, but because he was accurate. He leaves behind a memory that stings because it wasn't fantasy. It was truth. And truth has a habit of echoing long after the person who spoke it is gone. People don't fear being forgotten. They fear being remembered accurately. 3. He makes the best enemy because he doesn't fight for dominance. He fights for closure. A Sigma male doesn't fight to win. He fights to end. He doesn't need victory to validate himself. He doesn't need revenge to feel powerful. He simply needs the situation to reach clarity. And that clarity is often what destroys the other person. He lays out the truth without raising his voice. He exposes the lie without shaming. He ends the connection without theatrics. And that level of calm, collected finality hits harder than any emotional explosion. To his enemies, the Sigma male feels like a judge whose verdict cannot be appealed. Some men fight to prove a point. A Sigma fights to close the chapter. He makes the worst memory because he was the only one who didn't lie to you. In a world full of flattery, ego-stroking, manipulation, and emotional games, The Sigma male was the one person who gave you truth unfiltered, unapologetic, unedited. And even if you didn't like what he said, even if it hurt, deep down, you knew he wasn't wrong. People don't forget the person who saw through them. People don't forget the person who told them the truth. People don't forget the person who refused to lie just to keep the peace. Once you've been around a Sigma male, everyone else feels either too soft, too fake, or too scared to speak honestly. That's why he becomes the worst memory, because no one else replicates the clarity he gave you. Honesty can hurt, but losing it hurts far worse. 5. He makes the best enemy because he doesn't attack your reputation, he attacks your patterns. When someone becomes the Sigma's enemy, he doesn't waste time trying to destroy their name. He destroys the behaviors that created the conflict in the first place. He exposes the inconsistency, the manipulation, the ego, the game playing. And here's the brutal truth. Everyone else sees it too. The Sigma male doesn't ruin people by lying about them, he ruins them by telling the truth they hoped no one would notice. This is why his enemies resent him so deeply. Not because he damaged them, but because he revealed who they really were. He doesn't expose you to the world, he exposes you to yourself. 6. He makes the worst memory. Because his absence shows you who you really are without him. The Sigma male's presence brings stability, clarity, calmness, and direction. He becomes the grounding force in someone's life, even if they never admitted it while he was there. But when he's gone, everything gets loud. Your insecurities start speaking again. Your old habits return. Your emotional patterns resurface. Because the Sigma male was the mirror that kept you aligned. And once that mirror is gone, you're left facing yourself without his clarity to steady you. That's why he becomes the kind of memory people can't shake. Some people are medicine. Losing them reminds you how sick you really were. 7. He makes the best enemy because he doesn't fight for his ego, he fights for his peace. The Sigma male is not controlled by pride. He doesn't need to prove he's right. He doesn't need to win debates. He doesn't need to dominate. But if you disturb his peace, disrespect him, or attempt to manipulate him, he becomes the kind of enemy who ends things cleanly, ruthlessly, and silently. He won't drag the conflict. He won't negotiate nonsense. He won't entertain chaos. He will simply remove himself from your world, and in doing so, he wins without lifting a finger. To his enemies, this kind of exit feels like a haunting. It leaves them wondering why he walked away so easily and why they weren't worth the fight. A Sigma male's silence defeats more enemies than his words ever could. 8. He makes the worst memory. Because he leaves without burning bridges, but he never walks back across them. A Sigma male isn't dramatic. He's not vengeful. When he leaves clean. No insults, no explosions, no chaos. Just a calm, surgical departure. But here's what people don't expect. He never returns. That finality shakes people to their core. They expect him to come back the way others do. They expect reconciliation, second chances, emotional negotiation. But a Sigma male doesn't reopen chapters he's closed. And that's what turns him into a memory that lingers. He leaves quietly, but permanently. And permanence is the wound. 9. He makes the best enemy because he doesn't seek revenge. Life does it for him. The Sigma male doesn't chase revenge. He doesn't waste energy trying to make someone regret their actions. Instead, he focuses on evolving, improving, rising. And nothing destroys his enemies more than watching him flourish without them. His success becomes the revenge they never saw coming. His growth becomes the consequence they earned. His evolution becomes the reminder of what they lost. People always realize what they lost after the Sigma is already too far ahead to hear their apology. Revenge is loud. Evolution is silent but louder. 10. He makes the worst memory because he was the lesson they never wanted but always needed. People don't remember the Sigma male because he broke them. They remember him because he revealed them to themselves. His presence forces people to confront who they are, what they avoid, what they fear, and what they keep pretending doesn't exist. When he walks away, he takes his clarity with him, leaving them alone with the truths he once reflected. He becomes the kind of memory that never settles, the kind that reappears when someone tries to lie to themselves again, the kind that resurfaces when they repeat an old pattern, the kind that echoes when they meet someone new who lacks the depth he carried naturally. He becomes the memory that teaches, haunts, reshapes, and matures them long after the story is over. Some people stay in your mind. A Sigma stays in your evolution. On a final note, a Sigma male doesn't try to be unforgettable. He doesn't try to be feared. He doesn't try to be the enemy you regret or the memory you can't shake. He simply exists with a level of awareness, clarity, and emotional discipline that exposes every lie people live by, both the lies they tell others and the ones they whisper to themselves. He becomes the best enemy because he cannot be manipulated, provoked, or outplayed. He doesn't fight for ego, he fights for truth. And truth always wins quietly. He becomes the worst memory because he left an imprint that no one else can replicate, a level of honesty no one else offers, a kind of presence no one else maintains. He is the chapter people reread, not because it was comfortable, but because it was transformative. People think they fear losing a Sigma male, but the truth is harsher. They fear meeting themselves without his presence to sharpen them. He doesn't linger in your life, he lingers in your growth.